Well, welcome to the 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Chris Tomer.
I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens. It's back to some sunny, nice weather outside.
I just walked in a little bit ago. It is spectacular outside. I mean, it's in the 30s, obviously,
Yeah.
Michael, but you know it feels so much warmer than that.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you get out there and you get the sun, you can kind of feel that warmth coming in. The number's a number, but the vibes are improving.
What's been amazing to watch is the power of the sun, the temperatures melting away all this deep snowpack that we've been living with now. It feels like for a month or two.
Yeah, I mean, that snow it came down in terms of feet weeks ago, and it just hadn't gone anywhere since because we've been such sort of frozen tundra out there. Finally getting rid of some of it. And the way our forecast is looking, I think we're going to get rid of most all of it outside of those big piles.
I think you're right. I mean, I was outside of my house a little bit earlier today. The sun was shining. All the water was running down the street in a way. So it's almost gone. We have a few inches left. Let's talk about this forecast here. I want to go up to Mad River Mountain, and I'm always partial to skiing. I love to ski. Mad River, snow trails, Clear Fork. Obviously, we've got our own little ski areas here, but it's going to be a little rough with the warm temperatures coming in. I have a feeling we're going to melt a lot of snow. Even up here, I think around the edges, we're going to start to melt some snow up there as well. So the current snow cover, I showed this yesterday, and now we've lost even more of our snow cover. 3 days ago, we were at 100% coverage across Ohio. Now we're looking at about 40%. You can see the areas where we have lost significant areas of snow. We've poked through and now we're down to bare ground. Still a little bit of snow remaining, obviously, mainly up in northern Ohio. But here's the view outside right now at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and it's looking good. We've got sunny skies out there. What white is still on the ground, what snow will continue to melt away. So the temperatures right now versus 24 hours ago, we're down a couple of degrees, but we're still in the middle 30s, and many places are above freezing. And here are those numbers. 33 officially in Columbus. We've got freezing out in Newark and Lincoln County. And we've got low 30s, even some upper 20s around Mansfield. So kind of holding tough below freezing there, but mid to upper 30s in the southern part of the viewing area. All right, here's what I'm seeing in the forecast here that I'm really focusing in on. And the snow melt is one of the big things because that's going to continue. All of my forecast high temperatures out 5, 6, 7 days from now, they're all above freezing each afternoon. So while we will refreeze at night, all the afternoons are going to be quite warm. And I've got a lot of sunshine each and every day into the weekend. The other thing, and I've been talking about this the last few days, is this Sunday forecast. This is really the main game in town. There's a warm storm that's going to come up from the south, and it's the only day of the weekend that has a rain chance at 40%. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a second, but later in the forecast towards the middle of next week, there's also a 20% chance on Wednesday, and that probably trickles into Thursday as well. But look how it plays out in the weekend forecast. So Saturday, absolutely spectacular. Friday and Saturday look like great days if you want to get outside, and this is, of course, Valentine's Day on Saturday, 48 degrees. But look at Sunday. Sunday's a little different. We still have this 40% chance of rain on Sunday. We'll stay above freezing at night, so it'll be a full around-the-clock melt and a high temperature of basically 50 degrees. Let me show you what's going on right now. So here we are. There's Columbus. Look at this little streak of green right here. There's a small little weather system or front just kind of sliding down through Illinois and Indiana. That is going to completely miss us here in central Ohio. You can almost see the trajectory takes it down into parts of Kentucky. Now, if I widen the view, I want to show you our Sunday storm. Here it is out in the Rockies. It's way down towards the Four Corners. But what it's doing is it's finally providing some very much needed snowfall for parts of the Rocky Mountains that in many places the snowpacks out there are the lowest on record. And I know that to be a fact in a lot of Colorado. So that's the storm to watch. The hour by hour before we get there, over the next 24 hours, a lot of sun here today. We'll probably see a little bit of cloud cover. That's what the gray represents. So as we roll through the night, I'm going to stop this at 11 o'clock tonight. Most places are pretty clear. You can see that. There's a little bit of cloud cover across the eastern parts of the viewing area. By the time we get into tomorrow morning's rush hour, we're in fine shape. It should be a mainly clear morning. There might be just a touch of fog on the north side there of Columbus towards Delaware County, but then that goes away. And by Friday afternoon, Friday evening for the drive home, it's looking great. Friday is going to be a very nice day. All right, let me take you through the weekend. So Saturday, really nice. Now, by the time we get into late Saturday, early Sunday, this is 8, 9 o'clock. on Sunday morning. That warm storm is coming up from the south, and yes, there is a chance of rain that will brush Columbus. I'd say southern Ohio has the best chance of seeing precipitation. We're kind of like right on the northern periphery of this. You can see where the area of low pressure is. Each day it's been kind of wobbling around. Today, still close enough to give us that chance of rain in Columbus by the time we get into I'd say the first half of the day, and then we will probably go dry the second half of Sunday. And then by the time we get to 11 p.m., the low is way off to the east. So overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies and 22. Most places will be clear to partly cloudy with a light north wind. Tomorrow's forecast, Friday, a gorgeous way to end the week with a lot of sunshine and high temperatures at 42. Here's your 7-day, your 10 weather impact 7-day forecast. So Friday looking good. Saturday also nearing 50. Valentine's Day, and just a beautiful day. Now Sunday, as we kind of look at Sunday, there's your 40% chance of rain showers and a high of 47. Next week, the temperatures run wild with 50s Monday, Tuesday. We've even got a 60 there on Wednesday. Some rain showers come in late. By the time we get into Thursday, maybe a couple of scattered showers, Michael, and still in the 50s.
Yeah, that 50s and even 60 in there, that is going to feel downright spring, summer after what we've been through.
Looking back at the records, we haven't been this, I think, 60 to 65 in January 9th-ish, somewhere right in there. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. I mean, as good as those 50s felt for one day this week, having a stretch of them,
it's going to be something. I mean, it's going to feel balmy. It'll feel like we're in Cancun.
Yeah, who needs a vacation? You got weather like this coming into our region.
It won't be Cancun, but yeah, it's going to feel good.
Yeah, it will definitely feel good. And you know, that big warm up you were talking about in our forecast, it's welcome news when we're working to get rid of course, all the cold weather out there. But unfortunately, that cold weather did leave its impact across the region over the past month or so, including 6 people we found out had died during the recent cold snap. Some sad news there. Franklin County Coroner's Office confirms that toll again to 6 people during that time period.
That's really sad. So between January 24th through February 2nd, hypothermia is suspected as a contributing factor of this. We reached out to get the official cause of death. We'll bring you that as soon as we find out. Yeah. All right, so continuing with the impacts from the cold we've been telling you about in Central Ohio, the crews are fixing water main breaks and clearing roads. They're now moving onto bike lanes. That's a great thing. Got to get those clear for the weekend for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't seen some bikes lanes and sidewalks for a long time. Yeah. This is video from the City of Columbus Department of Public Service plowing through all the snow pushed up on the side of the road. The department says more than 2 feet of snow may be tough to push through, but this new equipment they have is, well, a lot tougher.
It's amazing how much work it takes to get, through a foot of snow.
Yeah.
Especially when you back end it with all of that cold air. It just sits there, and then it's even harder to remove.
Especially when you melt it just a little bit and you kind of freeze it into like an ice block.
Refreeze that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, and as the big melt continues, don't forget to keep an eye out for storm drains. That's a big one. And make sure they're clear of any debris or snow and ice that is trying to stick around those things. This picture is actually from Grove City, where officials say it's important to keep the drains clear to prevent flooding. And I'll add one thing to this. Being a homeowner, you have to make sure your sump pump, where it comes out, it has a place to go. If it's covered in snow, that creates a back pressure.
Just right back in the house.
Yes, so don't do that.
Yeah, that big melt, not just creating problems out there for the roads and, of course, the water that you see on the streets, but also the water, like you said, near your home.
Yes.
That pile of heavy snow out there, it's starting to melt. It's leaving yards soggy, and like you said there, sump pumps, basements could be at risk for damage too.
That's a really good one because you don't want that to happen. So Aaron Gaynor, who's the CEO of Eco Plumbers, Electricians, and HVAC Technicians, says this is just the beginning. If you find yourself dealing with a flooded basement, experts say acting quickly is crucial to minimize the damage.
Moving away any valuables or memories first, right? Get those up. They should always be stacked up high in your basement anyways.
Yeah, if you think you may have a roof leak, and this is a whole other issue, call a professional. He says, don't try to get up on the roof. Oh, that's a bad one. Oh. And if you fall from the roof, you're going to be out of commission for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can get dangerous, especially in these kinds of conditions, especially with the melting.
Yeah.
That snowpack, ice pack, that's loose up there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And speaking with, of course, the snow melt, many thankful to see it going away, but other places around the country. And
I was just
you actually just talked about this.
Yes.
They're asking for snow. Colorado snowpack problem could snowball into a long-term crisis. And of course, you've just come from Colorado, so you know a little bit about that.
Spent a long time there after moving away. But yes, so here's the issue. I mean, the snowpacks in the ski country. So, Michael, the ski industry is like, it's $1 billion industry in Colorado. And the snowpack is the worst on record in like a 30-year span. So they're saying Vail's reporting like a 20 to 25% drop in skier visits, which is huge.
That's got to be a major impact for the economy.
Ripples, you know, the lack of hotel. You don't have people staying in hotel rooms. You don't have them eating at local restaurants. And so it's just one of those really bad situations out there in Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like you said, some of the worst in history, some of those snowpack levels below 50%.
Half of what they should be.
That's crazy. One food pantry actually reporting it's feeding 150 more households this year compared to last because of those economic problems out there after the snow stopped falling.
Everyone is struggling to get the hours that they need because the tourists just aren't here like they normally are because the snow's not here, and so people aren't coming up as much.
You know, we talk about all these sort of first issues, but there are longer term issues. You know, drinking water, most of it in Denver comes from the mountains. Then you have wildfire risks that start to emerge if you don't have snowpack. Everything dries out. So Colorado ski towns rely on people, and obviously I was just saying this, in the service industries to keep things running. Those people rely on tourists to visit for that money. And you got to have snow to attract those people into town. Yeah,
absolutely. Hopefully, like you said, they can turn that season around a little bit. You know, it's been kind of a case of haves and have-nots this winter. And meanwhile, further to the west, California, they're getting more snowfall on top of what has already been pretty active this season. Business owners have said that the season got off to a slow start, but the winter's not over. And state water officials say they're noticing a trend with big bursts of snow kind of sandwiched in between those dry spells.
So what do we refer to that? Was that atmospheric rivers? Yeah. That type of stuff. I mean, and they're about to get nailed again in the high Sierra. I'm sure you've seen that in the forecast. So good, we need that. So of course, winter weather can provide some amazing opportunities to get outside and enjoy all these activities that only the cold weather can make possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked a little bit about the mess that winter can cause, but like we showed there in Colorado, you need the snow, you need it out in California and the mountains, and you kind of need it near the lakes too. Hope Winter from CBS station WIVB brings us this report about hitting that frozen water for a little bit of ice fishing.
I used to say only ice I like is in my glass. I don't even like to walk on ice on the sidewalk. That's why I put salt down. But once I got out here and started doing it, I really enjoyed it.
Many local anglers see a thick layer of ice on Lake Erie and are hooked. For some, ice fishing can be an activity of a catch and a release.
To me, it's a stress release. I get a lot of time to meditate and think to myself. You know, you get the stresses of work, you get the stresses of home life and everything. So to me, fishing is a time to just get away and have my own time, my me time, and just recharge my batteries.
For others, it's helping fill their freezer and a sport they've enjoyed for more than 50 years.
And when I'm in my real mode, I'll bring the power instead of the hand dog that I have here. I'll bring power and I'll just Swiss cheese it out here. And I'll just hold, oh, here's a school, boom, sit right down.
According to the New York State DEC, there should be at least 4 inches of thick, solid ice for ice fishers to go fishing. Here at the small boat harbor, they have plenty.
16 inches. A friend of mine was coming out today and we were actually going out and around the corner. He could bring his ATV and I feel good getting on this ATV with him and driving on this.
The temperatures rising are luring more anglers to the ice. For Carl Schenk, Tuesday was his first day out for the season.
I come out here because I just really enjoy myself.
When you stay in the house all winter, it's depressing. You get depressed. I mean, and it's proven that lack of sunlight, you get depressed. You stay in the house because it's cold. Go outside for a walk. Do something to get outside to get some fresh air, to get some vitamin D, and coming out here, you're not just getting exercise, walking on this ice and pulling these things. You're also getting fresh air.
Reporting in Buffalo, Hope Winter, News 4.
And now to some environment news. In the Trump administration, they're planning to roll back Environmental Protection Agency regulations on Thursday. That's today.
Yeah, so the greenhouse gases emitted from sources like cars, trucks, and power plants, which are major contributors to the climate change, will no longer be regulated by the federal government. So the administration's actions formally revoke what is known as the endangerment finding, which provides a legal and scientific underpinning for the federal government to regulate for the regulation of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere.
Yeah, environmentalists have condemned the move as a dangerous setback for the planet and human health. Scenes like this were common in major cities until EPA regulations cleaned up emissions. And you see some of those smoggy scenes from back in, I think this is from the 70s here. I mean, it's hard to argue with what that regulation has done to help improve air quality. And it seems like they're going to leave it more to like states and cities to regulate themselves when it comes to that.
There's some real health effects with air like that when it's that polluted around the cities. So that is something else. All right. So meanwhile, down in Florida, a water drought. A drought in Florida surrounded by water on 3 sides?
Yeah.
Water drought in the Everglades is causing major impacts to the ecosystem and water levels.
Yeah, the water everywhere except the place they seem to need it there in the Everglades. That drought also starting to have an impact on tourism, kind of a theme we've been talking about, weather and tourism. Janine Stanwood from station WPLG reports on that story.
We're on an airboat with Marshall Jones, a 5th-generation Gladesman who runs Max Fish Camp.
Because this drought is going to be one of the worst ones in a generation. Yeah, he moved back there.
We see gators trudging through mud. It's mucky and bone dry.
Oh, all right.
Nice and cold, right?
Yep.
The further we go this direction, the drier it gets. This particular drought is coming on earlier and with a harder, more rapid onset than I've ever seen.
Rainfall is 50% down since November, prompting officials to urge people to conserve water to stop depleting the Biscayne Aquifer, South Florida's main water source.
The less you waste water, the more viable our aquifer will be. This entire area that we're going through today, the Everglades in general, is the aquifer recharge zone for all of South Florida.
The Everglades is also home to one of the most complex and important ecosystems. Dry conditions shrinking the habitat and hiding places for wildlife.
With the rapid onset of this drought, the wildlife, many of them will be stranded out here. This area would normally be up to our knees with water.
Back at base camp, Jones has had to cut back on airboat tours because there are fewer places to go. He's also worried about brush fires already popping up.
It's a tinderbox waiting to go off.
And finally today, let's check out a little bit of new video into us here at 10 TV. Turning back to our winter season out there, the Coast Guard continues ice-breaking operations in New York. How about that? Hudson River there. You're seeing ice-breaking underway as of Wednesday. Bitter cold in New York for the past few weeks, and that freeze across the region led to a massive buildup of ice out there near the city.
Yeah, I can see that. So sheets of ice covered large sections of the river, forcing some New York ferries to suspend operations since late January.
Wow.
Partial service for routes on the New York City ferry resumed Wednesday. Coast Guard cutter vessels, such as the 20-meter or 65-foot Coast Guard cutter Hawser, helps to break up the ice around the ports along the river to keep the waterways open for crucial maritime traffic. And these include deliveries of petrol and heating oil, sewage, and trash.
River's a big part of life out there on the East Coast. And speaking with the frozen environment out there, check this out. This was all near the Philadelphia area, where the Delaware River and Bay continue to be impacted by ice. As of earlier this week, the Cape May Lewis ferry canceled round trips on the river due to ice and canceled all departures due to ice earlier this week from, well, that and high winds. So lots of frozen impacts there on the East Coast.
Well, earlier this month, ice on the Delaware River disrupted a shipment of 15,000 tons of salt arriving in Philadelphia on a barge. So no salt.
Not what you like to see. I know a lot of those northeastern states, they've been dealing with salt shortages.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I mean, the cold weather just hasn't let up. Hopefully this weather can kind of improve their conditions too.
Yeah,
with our weather.
Yeah, I mean the salt's crucial, even to melting snow and all of that stuff. So, all right, we thank you for tuning in here to this weather special here, this afternoon weather special. We'll have, of course, all the updates through the night here tonight.
Absolutely, you'll be back 4, 5, and 6 o'clock tonight, and of course we're available online anytime. 10tv.com. Have a great afternoon.